Hey everybody, I couldn't stay away. I thought about it. It's about 1:35 a.m. my time, Eastern Standard Time. I was like, I just did a review off of the place Beyond the Pines. I was like, you know what? Instead of me looking at this, I might as well just go ahead and review it. So I'm going to go ahead and do a review for Drive, starring Ryan Gosling. Um, this is probably one of my favorite movies. I've heard a lot of different people say they liked it, some people that didn't. Most people that said they didn't like it because they didn't like it didn't have enough action, didn't have enough race scenes. Why is this a movie? This. I'm gonna go ahead and break this down into sections. Ryan Gosling character plays a guy named Driver. He doesn't have a name, he doesn't have anything like that. They didn't and let anything. If you go to IMDb, it's not gonna give you. It's just gonna be Driver. But he's got an interesting skill set. By day, he's a Hollywood stunt driver. He's very talented, natural talent. He could actually do NASCAR potentially with the amount of skill set he has. By night, he's a wheelman. But what makes his character so interesting is the fact that you don't know what he's truly capable of, other than the fact that he can drive, be a wheelman, or be a stunt car driver. And so that presents it to the rest of the whole story. His character off the gate starts off with in this building. He's just talking on the phone, just letting the people know as a wheelman what he's gonna do, what he's gonna be capable of doing. But if anything happens in between the window, they're on their own. Clear and cut. That's it. And so I'm gonna go ahead and build off of how I'd usually do it, which I'm gonna talk about the environment, talk about the sound, then after the sound, I'm gonna talk about the acting, then I'm gonna talk about the progression of the story. So as far as the environment, as far as the actual look and scope of the movie, it looked beautiful. Most of the scenes that were shot from a first-person view of Ryan Gosling's character in the car most of the time. If there was like a sudden moment or a certain flash or something actually about to happen, it would pause and it would just let it reflect on it. This movie was beautiful. Every single shot, scene, it was all for a specific point. It could be Ryan Gosling's character just coming out of his apartment and he looks down for a second. You see the parallel, the actual camera angle go to his side, and you can look and see another character down on the ground, and it just looks amazing. I went and I re-looked at it again. There was just one scene where Ryan Gosling's character is going into his diner, and you hear this the backdrop of the music come, and slowly as it actually presents itself, looking inside the diner, you look and you see his character come up just like this so slowly, and it's like perfect symmetry. Like it wasn't like he was here or here. It was like this was really good placement for filming. This movie, the way they did it, every car scene, every race, um, it was really good. Now with the movie, it wasn't like what people will say. Is that it's not a whole bunch of chase scenes. It's not a whole bunch of action. There is now. This movie is a very violent movie. If you think about history of violence, or if any of y'all seen other movies that exhibit a lot of gore, as far as this is like, it's not a continuous amount of it, but it's that kind of intensity level that when it happens, it just shuts everything down. um, and so for that, as far as the effect, how realistic some of the actual gore looks, how intense the actual feel and dynamic of how the cameras is panned in. There's this one shot I will spoil where there's a girl and she's in the bathroom, she's taking up her makeup, and you look back at Ryan Gosling's character, he knows something is wrong. He tries to get up a mattress to try to get it out of the way. The girl's still looking with her peripheral straight at the mirror. And then you pan to the left of her. You look straight at an actual window. You see somebody actually about to shoot her or potentially hurt her. And it's just so slow and so motion how they do it. It's amazing. Now, the soundtrack, if any of y'all have ever heard it, I would highly recommend it. This is probably one of my favorite soundtracks of any movie, period. It's got this really 80s kind of feel. It's really kind of techno, rough edge. Not dubstep or anything like that. Not necessarily remixed of anything new or old. It's got that old classic kind of feel, and it's got its own kind of sound. It's raw. Um, and actually every single song it plays into the storyline. It was almost as though, I'm not sure if they did that, they evaluated the scenes and then they made the songs off of it. Because it seemed like either one, the scenes were made off of the songs, or the songs were made specifically for the scenes. And it's just so well done how they did it. Soundtrack is just amazing. So definitely highly recommend the soundtrack for Drive. Um, so I'll go ahead and say off the gate for me, the sound editing, the scope of the movie, and the way they actually shot every scene for scene. You go back and relook at the movie and take away the acting, take away the action. Just look at how each character revolves into a scene, how the transitions happen. Now, of course, I'm being a little geeky because I'm a reviewer. That's what I do. But if you go back and you take time to actually look at how the camera angles are placed at certain sets, certain scenes, like it'll blow your mind. But anyway, so I give that a 10 out of 10. Now I'll go ahead into the acting. So I'm gonna talk about some of the other characters. Now, the other characters that play in it, one is Carey Mulligan. Well, is it Mulligan? I think it's Mulligan. So Carey is a really good actress. She's played in different roles. This one, to me, is probably one of her better acting wise roles. Now, she's about to be in The Great Gatsby with Leonardo DiCaprio. She's going to do really good in that. I think she's been in the movie with Shia LaBeouf. I forgot the name of it. Wall Street. Um, the second Wall Street. I forgot the name of it though. But she's been in other roles besides that. But she is a really talented actress, and I didn't realize she had a British accent because she plays like her character is so tight knit. I didn't even know until I actually looked at the behind the scenes. Her character plays. Um, I guess I'll kind of spoil that. She plays the mother to the boy. I don't want to spoil too much, but most of y'all probably seen this, so I'll go ahead and just reveal it. Okay, she lives in the same apartment as Ryan Gosling's character, Driver, and they see each other on the elevator at the supermarket. They just keep running into each other, and it's so uncommon for Ryan Gosling's character because I mean, he keeps to what he has to do. If anything compromises that, or anyone goes back and says, "Okay, I remember you from this," or "I remember you from that," he'll sit there and tell them, "I don't know you. I don't know who you are. If you don't get out of my face, I'm gonna take you out." And he's clear as day. And honestly, you start noticing that later on, but when he interacts with her character, it's totally different. It's almost as though he lets his guards down and at the same time takes out a code that he already had laid down as a foundation, and he just allows himself to feel. And it's really good interacting. Like it's really sincere, but at the same time, she's dealing with the dilemma because her husband that she did have, he's in jail. He messed up. He jacked up. They have a kid, and when everything goes down, which what happens is the husband does come back. When he comes back, it's not just dynamic, real crazy triangle at this point. The husband brings back a lot of baggage, and that plays an effect in Driver's reality, in Irene's reality, in Netzio, the son's reality, and it just changed the whole movie into this. Like it's an upper spiral. But it's really good. It's really good acting to see. And even the guy that actually plays the husband, he does really good acting as well. I mean, you want to hate him because he's kind of busting up the bubble and the love kind of thing, but at the same time, you feel for him, you know. And so I think his acting was really good with this one. Of course, everybody knows Breaking Bad. Like that's probably one of the top TV shows to date in history. Bryan, Cranston, Malcolm in the Middle is that. He plays kind of the mentor to the character Driver. He does a really good job in his role. Um, uh, uh, to me, it was almost like he was kind of like if you've ever seen Rocky and you think about Rocky's mentor, go get him, kid. Um, that was kind of his kind of role, but at the same time, he had a lot of baggage too, and because of that baggage, it brought into the driver's world. So all these different kind of like things and sets that he's had for himself, because he's let these two people into his life, which Irene and which is Bryan's character, um, that leaves him kind of vulnerable, but at the same time makes him very dangerous because that's when his character really progresses. You see truly what he's truly capable of doing, and it's very scary to actually see. Like Ryan Gosling's character, he goes to a level of violence and I wouldn't say insanity. It's just nothing. Like it's almost as though he becomes something totally different. He becomes a different person, or really, I guess he becomes really himself. And there's a point where he does something so terrible, so bad on an elevator scene, which if you haven't seen the movie, you need to see it to believe it. But he does this. He does this right after him and Irene have an actual real good moment, and she has to sit back and self-assess after he does this violent act. Who is this guy? Who am I really truly in love with? And that's just perfect setup. And the way the backdrop shows, I'm not gonna go talk about the environment anymore, but it was just really good acting on Ryan Gosling's character's part. He brought it on that one. Another character, which he plays the real bad guy, is Albert Brooks. His character, he has a lot of layers to him too. He reminds me so much of what Driver really could be at an older age, but at the same time taken away from not needing anything. The difference with his character and Driver, Driver doesn't need or have to have anything. Like he's a drifter, he can go whatever. Albert Brooks' character, he's so wrapped into the world that he's in, the mafia kind of world that he's in, that he has to force his hand. It's all about business for him. And both of these characters are very dangerous, and they bring it as far as acting. That you just see all over them. They do such crazy things, such violent acts that it's very entertaining. And what they're capable of is more entertaining than what they actually do. It's like you see them do something like, man, this person did this. What else could they really do? And that's why I don't have to see them continuously kill, or do this kind of amazing car scene or whatever, because they bring it in such a way with their roles and their characters that you don't have to see it. You can actually just really know and you can tell what they're really truly capable of. Another character that came in was Ron Perlman's character. You know, of course, y'all know him from Hellboy. Uh, he's just the guy that messes everything up, in my opinion. It all kind of plays back to him. Um, but he did a good job in his role. I mean, he brought it as far as his acting level. So acting wise, definitely a 9 out of 10 unanimously for everybody. Then as far as the directing and storyboard, story itself, um, I just love the story. It's kind of a classic kind of Romeo and Juliet, but at the same time, it's kind of this drifter kind of story. Like if you think about bringing Romeo and Juliet into a gladiator slash, uh, I don't even know. I've never really seen a storyline kind of evolve like this one, and the way that it started, from the way it progressed to the way that it ended on, which everything that happened should have ended very horribly, and to a degree it really did, but it made you think, and it even like made you cheer, it made you sad, uh, because all these characters, they're all brought into Driver's world, but Driver is brought into theirs. And he is forced to care, he's forced to lash out, he's forced to show his true colors. And when he shows his true colors, which he wears this jacket, this scorpion jacket with yellow scorpion on it. He keeps it on for most of the movie, even though he does crazy things, messed up things, blood splattering everywhere. He does not wash the jacket. The jacket stays consistently there, and I think there's some kind of symmetry with that. That no matter what's really truly going on, even though you can't see like his true character from the beginning, he's still the same character and he's still capable of doing these same exact things all the way through the progression of it. So I think to me the symmetry shows with his jacket that this jacket's not going anywhere. There's blood on it. He even says at one point to Albert Brooks' character, because Albert Brooks' character, he said, can I shake your hand? He was like, I got dirt under my fingers. You don't want to shake my hand. And what's interesting, which it plays out later on, you find out Albert Brooks' character says, "I got dirt on my fingers too. I understand." They shake hands, and it just kind of shows um, where these guys have gone from, even without actually really showing it. And that's, to me, those are the best kind of movies. Like, this was a well acted movie. This is a well directed movie. Storyline, it was really on point. Um, I think that there should have been some kind of nomination, even if it was just for just the visuals or the scope of the movie. I think that it really should have been nominated for something. But I'm not going to get into the Oscars for last year because there was a lot of things actually winning for it. Not just that, this is a movie that was actually now it's almost 2 years old. Um, but highly recommend Drive. My whole thought, just like kind of, it's kind of crazy, but I give this movie a 9 out of 10. You can disagree if you want. I understand. I want to hear your comments, what you really thought of the movie, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you thought it could have been better, if you thought it could be more fast paced. You're entitled to your opinion. That's all good. But to me, it's the simple thing of, okay, this is a guy that is not to be trifled with, that has a extreme amount of skills, that has had his new world brought to a stop and a halt, and is threatened. And he's not the type to be threatened. He's not the type to be trifled with. And so it's a lot of intense scenes in it. It's a lot of gore, a lot of violence. So I wouldn't recommend you looking at it with your kids at all. But definitely, if you really want to see a good story, don't look for the action. Don't look for a whole lot of car chasing. It's not what it's about. It's not Fast and the Furious. This is a movie really story driven, character driven, and it might not be the kind of ending you really like either. Um, but I really enjoyed it. So for the simple things and for the movie that it is, it's a standalone. I love it. So I give it a 9 out of 10. Want to hear your comments? I'm done for the rest of the night. I'm going to sleep. All right, y'all have a good one. Take care. Good night.